Hello everyone, welcome back to Intro to Investing. In the last video, we talked about the stock market and a little bit about how it works. Today, we're actually going to look at how to do research on which stocks to buy. So let's visit some good websites that you can use to do some research. So one that I like is TD Ameritrade. So you just want to go to the TD Ameritrade website. And right here in the search menu, you don't want to type in the name of your company, you want to type in the ticker symbol. So if you don't know what the ticker symbol is, it's essentially an abbreviation used when trading. I think all companies have them. If you don't know your company's ticker symbol, you can always just look it up. So I was using Apple in the last scenario, so let's just use Apple stock, and then you can do AAPL. It works with almost all companies. Amazon stock, AMZN, so on and so forth. So we'll use Apple in this scenario. So just type in AAPL. Click on that. So right here you'll get a nice summary as well as a nice graph that you can look at. This will just show you the stock prices in the past 3 months, 1 month, whatever you click on, so forth. So right here you can see this is the closing price of Apple stock. Right now it's actually 422. The market closes at 4:30 p.m. New York time. We're 1 hour behind New York, so currently in New York it's 5:22. So the market closed about an hour ago. So right here is the day's change. So this is how much it increased during the trading day today. Then you have a bunch of other numbers over here. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. Um, Previous close is how much it closed for yesterday. Today's open is how much it opened for today. The day's range is the lowest price it reached today, as well as the highest price it reached today. These three you don't have to worry about too much when you're doing research. But volume is just the number of stocks that you've traded that the average number of stocks that have been traded every day for the past 10 days, past 10 trading days, I should say. 52-week range is also pretty similar to the days range, just for a year. This is the lowest price it's been the past year. This is the highest price, and this shows you where its current price is relative to the low and the high. Percent below high does kind of the same thing. It just gives you the percent difference between the current price and the high price. You could also calculate percent above low if you wanted to. Historical volatility is kind of like how much the stock price changes. More volatility means it changes more. Less volatility means it doesn't change as much. Now, market cap is an interesting one. It's essentially the value of the company, but in a more technical sense, it refers to the total value of all the company shares, um, and it's calculated by multiplying the price of the stock by the number of outstanding shares. So you can see the next statistic right here is the number of outstanding shares. So if I multiplied 4.4 billion right here times 286.69, you would get a number that's pretty much equal to 1.3 trillion. This might not be updating real time, the market cap, so it might be a little off, but it should be, for the most part, pretty similar. And then these two are pretty interesting. Earnings per share, or EPS as it's often abbreviated. It's calculated by dividing a company's profit by the number of shares outstanding. So, um, so profit divided by this number right here, and that'll give you EPS. It's actually one of the most widely followed gauges of corporate performance, and it reflects profit per share or loss per share if the company is losing money. Um, and then price to earnings ratio is calculated by taking this number, the current stock price, and dividing it by earnings per share. Um, Most investors use it to determine the relative value of a company's shares. So yeah, and then annual dividend. Not all companies have dividends, but Apple does in this case. So a dividend is kind of like I wouldn't call it a royalty, but it's like a amount of money that's paid out every certain time period. So most companies give out, if they do give out dividends. So not all companies give dividends, first of all, but if a company does give out dividends, they'll usually do it twice a year or 4 times a year, and they'll give a certain percentage of the stock price at that time. So in this case, Apple was giving 1.08%. It differs per company what percent they give. Um, so they give out $3.08. And the ex dividend is basically the date you have to buy stock by if you want some of that dividend. So if you bought stock on February 8th, you wouldn't get any dividends. But if you bought, say, 100 stocks on February 1st, you would get $308 in dividends. Beta is another interesting one. Um, he describes how much a stock changes if an index changes by 1%. It's most often calculated based on the S&P 500. So in Apple's case, the beta is 1.2. So if the S&P moves up 1%, Apple would be expected to move up by 1.2%. Other two aren't as important, and then you can just look at this graph. You can change it to the 6 month, and it'll give you. It's not working right now, but this is showing you the 5 day, right? So you can just look at the stock prices over the past 5 days. You can see between Monday and Tuesday there was a relatively large gap. A large increase. So yeah, TD Ameritrade is a good thing to kind of get started in. Obviously, if you want to do your own research on what these mean, feel free to do so. Another one that you can use that's pretty popular, as a matter of fact, is probably more popular, is Yahoo Finance. So same thing, Yahoo Finance, except I think Yahoo Finance is more. Oops. Okay, so you can use Apple again in this case. Actually, let's use Amazon, just to switch it up a bit. So right here you can see Amazon. It's worth a lot more per stock compared to Apple, but that doesn't always mean it's the more valuable company. As a matter of fact, you can see its market cap is lower, but more likely it has less outstanding shares. That's why it's costs a lot more. So you can see right here, today the day's change was $100.51. So that's how much it gained today. These are just after hours changes. They're not usually as important as the day change. So you see a lot of the same statistics as the TD Ameritrade, open, close, days range, 52-week range, the volume, the average volume. So you can see right here, Amazon does not offer dividends, which is why everything is not applicable. And right here, you can also see Yahoo Finance actually gives you a estimate of where it will be in 1 year. So I think that covers it for the most part. I'll see you guys next time, where we're actually going to build a cool tool in Excel that will be able to track your stock prices for you.